So why do I publish this video, this old video? Because I see that some people just publish things without thinking correctly, and I give respect to everybody, right? But I also like to see people that they are specialized, highly specialized, especially in this case, in something. They need to stick with what they know, not try to go off the box and try to teach something they don't know. That bothers me a lot. If you are not understanding what you're doing, probably you should be not teaching that. Adding weight to a specific skill is something that it's controversial. It requires you to understand what is the displacement of the mass. If the displacement of the mass, like for example in this kind of exercise, is forward toward where the barrel should be, that would be a fucked up things, because matter or not, even if you perceive it or not, there will be a deviation of the platform, and that's not good. So you need to understand that you need to deal with gravity and displacement of the mass every time you do things. Like adding too much weight on your punching, on your boxing skill is not good, because it's gonna be ending. You create a little bit, even if you don't perceive it, a movement that is gonna resist the end of the punch to going down. So that will deteriorate your skill. One thing is to add in weights on your gloves, or little bit, and not too much weight, and a little bit of weights to boxing, to understanding I need to create resistance on my shoulder so that I can keep my hands up more efficiently. While you can put two kettlebell and holding the stance over there, and you're not gonna damage your connective tissues, your joint at the extension of the punch. Okay, so then I see people with big, heavy, too heavy dumbbell try to punch, and they believe they create power. Well, sorry, you don't create power with this shit. Power comes from down below, from your leg drive to your hips to your core, and that's the way to develop the power, that when you deliver it with the small engine, the shot that you created from down there. So better you did, maybe you do a swing or a deadlift or a power snatch or something. They create all the kinetic chain so that you can deliver power. And then you add in your skill when you do your skill performance. Okay? So pay attention when you do things, because nowadays, especially when you are an Instagram influencer, a lot of people, they just follow whatever you say, whatever you show, and they take it for granted because you are an influencer. So if you are a good influencer and you have a lot of visuality, you need to think correctly, and take in consideration that people will follow up what you're showing, and you need to take that responsibility, because if you're showing shit, people will perform in shit. Okay? And then another things that you guys need to understand is, I don't take as a point of reference a super athlete or a champion, because that guy, it's 1%. He's a super athlete, he's a champ. He can be doing great even with the eating shit and maybe train wrongly, because he's a gifted guy. Okay, you need to talk to a good coach. If it's strength conditioning, go check around good strength conditioning coach and see if he has something to do, if he can specify to you, he can answer all your questions. If he can break down any question that you give it to him, probably you need to go step forward and look for someone else. All right, so before we watching the video, we need to understand video is very old. It's 14 years old. So a lot of things change up here, my way to thinking, my way to see things, and I probably never use it that again too much. Okay, but still, principle is principle, and I want you to reinforce that. Okay, see the difference to using a dumbbell that you're gripping like that instead to have your natural grip. Okay, and understanding what is the center of the mass. If I take in this for example, probably the more weight will be in this part of the tool, right? It's not gonna be in this part, and I want to have a solid control of this so I can control this moment, right? Now the weight is over here, and when I'm gripping my clubbell, the weight is down below over here. It's not on top. Matter of fact, if I use the clubbell facing up, that would be totally wrong. We will be adding weight and displacement of the center of the mass in a wrong position to thinking about that might have some transfer in me presenting my gun or my tool, whatever you want to call it. I need to take that very in consideration when I'm selecting the tool for the right purpose, right? I don't put a dumbbell lock into my body and thinking, I can swim. If I can swim with the dumbbell or with the barbell, I can swim better when I remove it. That's bullshit, right? So for the same reason, you need to be very careful and not be a creative. No, there is no circus right here. But stick with this principle. Stick with the foundation of strength conditioning, and you're gonna be always all right. Okay. Plus the club will allow me to do the little bit of extension. Then if you have two hands grip and especially the second hand, you need to be locked in the forward position. Okay, that's cool. You can do that with the club. Okay, but again, it's just an adding of a little bit of resistance. So the club need to be very light. You don't want to use a 20 kilos club. For the same purpose, I don't want to use a 20 kilos dumbbell and try to punch like that and then thinking, imagine that I create power. I create a slow movement, I create damage, and power is not gonna come anyway. So again, watch the video and think about, can I do that with the dumbbell in my hand? Yeah, I can do it, but it doesn't make sense with what we discuss right now. No, it does not. So again, you are a great guys or a great girls. You are a super amazing performer in your specific. Stick with your specific. Don't go out of the box just because you want to eat more follower or whatever, because you're going to eat more follower for sure. People are going to follow you and you're going to create a lot of damage. So you just watch the video and you see a young me, but also you saw the club bell. The club bell is moving a little bit on the bottom, such as good things, because it's gonna interfere with my core, with my balance. It's not too intense, but the nervous system, the inner ear, the perception feels that, and it's good. That's the way to improve things. Okay, small detail that make a big change in the long process. And again, you see the club bell is not too heavy, and you see what is the center of the mass. It's not going to deteriorate my position. It's not going to deteriorate my joints, my extension when I'm presenting the gun, when I'm locking up, and I don't stay locked for too long. You don't stay locked for too long, even in a stage. If you do a competition shooting, or if it's a train-based scenario for real life situation, combative, you don't stay and be a stand all the time. That's something I'm telling you because you don't want to stay locked out with the club bell or any tools for X amount of time, because too much tension, too much isometric tension might create into into your tissues, in your ligament, in your fascia. That's not good. That's a suggestion I give it to you. But again, you see that that might be a better tool to play around with that. Okay. Again, you ask me if I can do it if I do it those days. I don't know. Probably not. Probably it's still not my big suggestion. But playing around sometime is okay to have a different stimulus. But always stick with the understanding that everything you do, right or wrong, is gonna interfere right here. It's gonna be changing something, right? So to grow, you need some stimulus to adapt to new things, right? Like people thinking that you can't grow your muscle unless you don't do barbell and dumbbell. That's bullshit. You can use clubbell, you can do kettlebell, you can do other things. You can do a lot of body weights with adding weight to work in your tempo. You're still growing. The nervous system doesn't have highs, and you readapt to a stress environment. So you always need to work out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be intense. It have to be one step at a time, and you increasing how much time you stay out of your comfort zone, and then how your system thinking you need that is gonna try to adapt, and then when you grow, right? So Think correctly and ask support to good coaches. There's plenty of them around, and there is plenty of good schools that you can ask to address you to a good coaches. But again, please, if you are doing some other activity in your life, don't try to, because of the sake of the Instagram or the Facebook. Or now today I want to show something that I do crazy because I know people have millions of followers, and now I'm a good entrepreneur. Now I'm someone that can deliver other information because people follow me. That's exactly the opposite thing. You need to understand that people follow you and you giving shit information. You need to deal with your face in the mirror. That's another issue. Not too many people want to deal with that. Sorry. My 2 cents, guys.